远的乡。
ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hey, this is Arlene.
Hi, good morning. This is Grace.
And of course, you are with us on a very beautiful Friday.
Yes, anything can happen on Friday, and it's definitely what everyone is expecting, and especially in line with the Bersih 4.0. A lot more people are very, very prepared for this movement, and some areas are already packed with lots of people wearing yellow shirts. And in fact, it's gonna be larger than the previous ones, and then not only in Kuala Lumpur, but then other states in Malaysia, there are a lot of people and also groups are preparing for the Bersih 4.0.
And what is the interesting news about Bersih is the government is not just going to monitor the website that contains information about Bersih, they also ban the official Bersih website, apparently.
Yeah, and then this is another story that the government sort of shows that it's scariness towards the movement. I mean, some can be expected from this movement, and then it clearly shows the why people want to hold this Bersih clean and fair elections. But then apparently with the government's reaction to shut down a media agency or even the website, it just sort of shows that there will be a barrier again between government and the public.
Yeah, and one of the interesting point I want to highlight is Bersih 2.0 officials actually slammed back towards the government's agency that controls the internet, which is called MCMC. And what is interesting is they say that this is really unlawful, and definitely they shouldn't have done that.
Well, for sure, but then at the same time, I mean, a lot of people are questioning. I mean, we are moving forward in terms of a lot of areas in Malaysia, but what are we getting out of this? Are we really going to send our messages to the government? Will it be that transparent, vice versa?
I think even the idea of protest itself is about sending the message to the government. And just tracking back to why the government decided to block the website is because they deem that the website is promoting, spreading information to encourage people to join Bersih for demonstration on the grounds that it would threaten national stability. I don't think so. I would agree with Maria Chin Abdullah, the Bersih 2.0 chairman, but she criticized MCMC, saying that it was supposed to be promoting free flow of information. And I mean, the official statement from Bersih 2.0 that they are not there to topple government. They are just going to forward with their 5 demands. And of course, one of the 5 demands is about saving economy, free and fair elections, and so on and so forth.
Well, let's just go back to a few facts and information. We mentioned what is this all Bersih all about, but then it started with that first rally, which was just 2007, and it went on with 2011, 2012, just 3 years ago, and then 2015. Here we are, just a day before Bersih 4.0 that will happen tomorrow, and also Durian ASEAN will be there to see the whole social movement, and also to participate as well. And then this is the fourth one, of course, 29th of 30th of August, and it is to push for Prime Minister Najib Razak's resignation as well as institutional reforms to prevent the prime ministerial corruption. And of course, the rally comes amid allegations in the Wall Street Journal, and it also has the controversial topic, which was 1MDB. And then the recent events in Malaysia, including the removal of Abdul Ghani Patil as a AG Attorney General, and we had a recent event of basically the reshuffling of the government. It also triggered the whole call for this rally movement. So organizers like you, Arlene, you mentioned before, they said that the protest will be held in Kuala Lumpur, Kuching, Kota Kinabalu from 2 p.m. on August 29 until the midnight of August 30th.
And besides that, I mean, very interesting fact about Bersih 4.0 and also Bersih in general, the history. And this Bersih will be even more, I guess, unique is because that it will be in 2 days. They will put one night in the middle of KL and also KK and Kuching. And besides that, they will not affect the Merdeka rehearsal. A lot of people might not realize, but Merdeka is around the corner.
That is also very true. And it's very irony because Merdeka is just around the corner and a person is rightly tomorrow.
And I mean, we will discuss more about Merdeka later on, but I just want to highlight something about Facebook. Apparently, Facebook celebrates 1 billion users in a single day.
And this is amazing how Facebook has been affecting everyone's lives today. And they just passed an important milestone, and it's according to the chief executive and also co-founder Mark Zuckerberg. He declared in the post on his Facebook page, of course, and 1 in 7 on Earth, they use Facebook to connect with friends and family. And of course, this was the first time they reached this milestone, and it's just the beginning of connecting the whole world.
That's amazing, and I feel like Facebook has done a lot in terms of connecting people. Although some people may question Facebook, I guess, dubious way of trying to create privacy. I mean, trying to breach privacy of its own users, especially for the sake of marketing. But anyway, I think in terms of social, pushing forward for social progress, I think Facebook has done a lot in the virtual world.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll take one short break. When we return, we'll discuss further on the politics sides of Southeast Asia.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Good morning, this is Arlene.
Welcome back, this is Grace.
So talking about politics, we should put political differences aside, especially on the day of Merdeka, which is the Independence Days for Malaysia.
Yeah, that's true. We have so many issues internally, especially in Malaysia, when it comes to political side. However, in conjunction with the Merdeka, and also tomorrow is the Bersih 4.0 that we have mentioned before, and perhaps according to communication, the multimedia minister Salleh said he has Karuak has called the Malaysians to set aside their political differences here, but to celebrate Merdeka Day.
So Salleh Said Karuak, he said that in sports we have discarded ethnic in favor of nationalism, and seems to be able to uphold the Malaysian spirit. So the same that he's expecting for Merdeka Day to come together as one and not be divided by different political or religious or racial leaning.
Well, definitely things have changed, and then even though we are moving forward, there are certain things that it is still divided and segregated at the same time. And of course, with all this rally movement and going on, he's also showing perhaps his concern over the next 2 days. And then, of course, we have to march together. We have to unite. We have to act and also behave as a united nation. But we still have a lot of differences in races, religion, and even political leanings.
That's true. And Merdeka is about love for the country, and it's not hate for each other. Because just because we do not share the same political ideals, that's the reason why for this year's Merdeka theme is actually Sehati and Sejiwa.
Sehati Sejiwa.
Sehati, you sharing of one heart and sharing of one soul.
Well, that has a very that's really deep, with also in line with a lot of issues that has happened in the, one nation.
Yeah, and you can follow the Twitter hashtag called hashtag Sehati Sejiwa just to get to know more about what is happening around Malaysia and how Malaysia celebrate them Merdeka as one, which is kind of cool. On the other hand, well, I have to talk about this. This is regarding on the economic committee that Najib just formed. He already named the financial movers, and he's actually electing his brother, Datuk Sri Nazir Razak, to head the Malaysia's second largest bank, who has openly voiced his concern over the ringgit slide against the US dollar, and he has been named by Najib to be part of the newly set up committee dealing with restoring confidence in the capital market.
Well, this is very interesting because the news about his brother coming to the political side, it has been released quite a long time ago. And at the same time, it was also said that the brother really wants to have a different party or a sort of non-organization party there. And then now the Prime Minister's Datuk Seri Najib Razak's brother is appointed as the financial department there, and that actually brings a lot of sort of meaning, and also it tells another story when it comes to political side in Malaysia.
And also, according to news reports, that the Prime Minister himself has appointed Minister in the Prime Minister Department, Datuk Sri Abdul Wahid Omar. If you still remember, he used to be the CEO of Maybank, and he also will be leading the Special Economic Committee, which was announced by Najib a couple of days ago. And besides both of them, Abdul Wahid and Nazir, a few other names that were also mentioned by Najib, including Khazanah Nasional Berhad Deputy Chairman and former Second Finance Minister Tan Sri Noor Muhammad Yaakob, Khazanah Managing Director Tan Sri Azman Mokhtar, Associate Banks in Malaysia's Chairman Datuk Abdul Fari Alias, who is also the Chief Executive Officer at Malayan Banking Seremban Berhad or Maybank, and China Banking Regulatory Commission Chief Advisor Tan Sri Andrew Sheng Lentao. But the funny thing is, a couple of other names also were being mentioned. But the funny thing is, even though our Bank Negara governor is Tan Sri Zeti Akhtar Aziz, she was not in the part of the economic committee, which is such an irony.
Well, that is also the part about the irony part about all this movement. But at the same time, according to Najib, he said that this will be just a short term until the whole economy in Malaysia bounces back. But then, of course, with this comment, a lot of other doubts and also the questions have risen due to the announcement of this, because it is, I mean, a lot of people are very skeptical about this a finance committee, I believe, to whether they can regain this whole international investors' confidence once as it will need to take all these tackle issues and also a lot of consolidating public funds as well. So a lot of things need to be fixed when it comes to the economy part. But then going back to the story about the picking of his own siblings, it also tells another story of the political side.
But on the other hand, I still need to nitpick this economic committee. Is there's not even a single woman in it. All are men.
It's very, I will say, what do you call it, sexist when it comes to picking up the male rather than female. But I'm not saying that I'm supporting the female entirely, but at the same time, the ability of one human being, it doesn't really define by sex or gender. So, well, we just need to sit down because we have no power to say in this. However, what's decided is decided, but we just hope that things will be better or sooner or later.
That's true. Anyway, we'll take another short break. When we return, we'll talk more about the economic side of Southeast Asia, why a lot of countries right now is facing a lot of woes because of the currency war in the world.
ASEAN Dailies, First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Good morning, this is Arlene.
Welcome back, you're with Grace.
And of course, with us again, we will bring you more news on the economic side of Southeast Asia. When it comes to economic, people are worried, especially Southeast Asian companies. They are grapple with foreign debt worries, with rupiah and ringgit at 17-year lows. This put pressure on firms with foreign debts, and 40% of top firms have half their debt in foreign currencies, and banks are expecting increase in discounted rights issues.
Well, this is very worrisome because especially rupiah and ringgit currencies have weakened to 17-year lows, and the bankers and company are very, very worried about this. Well, business expanded overseas, and they had a lot of benefits and advantages of this cheap debt, but foreign currency borrowing of 100 large Southeast Asian firms reviewed, which was by the Standard and Poor's, ballooned to around the third of the total debt last year from just 16% in 2011, and now it's 40% nearly of all those companies. Foreign currency debts now make up more than half of its total debt. And of course, it comes with the ringgit issues and most countries in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, that's true. And in Malaysia, plantation firm Sime Darby, which completed its 1.7 billion acquisition of US dollar of Papua New Guinea-based New Britain palm oil this year, said that it is looking at ways to strengthen its balance sheet. Local media earlier reported the firm planned a 6 billion ringgit or 1.4 billion US dollar rights issue to pay down foreign debt, and this is definitely not doing well for a lot of Malaysia's GLC and MNC.
Yeah, well, that has led to bring a lot of worrisome for Malaysians and Indonesian, the companies especially. However, the most companies that issue dollar bonds are fairly big, and as long as they have access to the onshore liquidity, they should be fine. So even as a lot of company employers, when they now look for the job, they go for dollar companies
yeah,
rather
that's
than
true.
Ringgit or rupiahs, because now dollars, it values really, really a lot.
That's true. And because of that, there are some companies that are planning to restructure their loans. So, for example, Axiata Group, Malaysia's biggest mobile operator by market value, plan to restructure 590 million US dollar loan in Indonesia into a rupiah-dominated partial sukuk to reduce its exposure to forex volatility. So there you go.
Yes, and also it is very important to communicate intensely the impact of the currency changes to the government, and also it is coming from the main stakeholder as well, and a lot other companies, including telecom and then investment companies, they are hugely affected by this drop in currency.
Yeah, and moving on to the next news, Malaysia and Thailand seeking to use their currency in trade and investment, like I mentioned just now on Axiata. The same thing is happening with a lot of companies in Malaysia and Thailand, including the central banks for both countries, agreed to promote a greater use of their currency to settle trade between the two countries in the latest attempt by emerging economies to reduce exposure to increasingly volatile global markets as well as foreign debts.
Well, we're talking about the Bank Negara and also Bank of Thailand. They signed a memorandum of understanding to encourage the use of ringgit and also Thai baht by the private sector to settle these trades and the direct investments. And then the bank said it will join. It is joint statement. So both Malaysia and Thailand, they want to have a sort of trade in their currencies and hope that they can bring a sort of economic bounce after trading the currencies.
And according to Bank Negara Governor Zeti Akhtar Aziz, that she believed the bilateral arrangement would further strengthen trade and investment flow. And of course, she believed that this would further strengthen and boost economic investment in both regions. And the deal came as many emerging economies are facing slowing economic growth. It is really funny because you have the ringgit, rupiah, baht, and a few other Southeast Asian currencies going down the drain, but exports are not necessarily going up. So this is one of the measures that Bank Negara and also central banks from Southeast Asia are doing. Talking about ringgit, ringgit continues to uptrend against US dollar.
Well, this is very scary, to be honest. Now the 1 ringgit is equivalent to 4.2. It's almost 4.3.
Oh my goodness.
We really hope that it doesn't go beyond that. Well, the US Federal Reserve's move to likely delay its interest rate increase also provided a boost in the two Asian currencies. Well, it is very necessary to have the boost in the Asian currencies. We've been talking about the currency in Southeast Asia, especially the ringgit rose 0.45% to 4.233 from 4.252. It was very just a slight difference, but then I hope that our ringgit value still stays and then increases sooner or later.
That's true. Talking about trying to have a more rebounded economy. Apparently, the recent bomb scare in Thailand has affected Thai tourism, but the government predicts swift rebound. And the worst ever bombing in Thailand has caused 17% fall in tourist arrival.
Because Thailand is heavily relying on the tourism.
Yeah, it is one of their biggest industry.
And especially Bangkok, and there is a lot of tourist attraction places that people are coming and stuff. There are peak seasons that people will just flood into the Thailand itself. And with that, the recent event of a bomb blast in the Shrine area, a lot of foreigners have been informed and also warned by the government to be careful. It was never banned to come into Bangkok, but because of that certain issues there is a speculations and assumption that there will be perhaps the second or third attack in the Thailand again.
Yeah, but the government is definitely aiming that the tourism will pick up in the fourth quarter and is aiming for 28.8 million arrivals and 2.2 trillion baht in revenue this year from tourism. So I'm not sure when it will pick up, but hopefully that maybe with greater security, greater assurance by the Prime Minister Chan O-cha, it will increase tourist confidence to visit Thailand.
Yes, for sure. But to be honest, after the bomb blast, the government has taken a very immediate reaction to after that. So a lot of people are saved from here, even though we still had a lot of death tolls counted from the incident. But I hope the government takes into consideration in terms of security and also the after effect that people, and also to prevent from the future attacks.
That's true. And we'll take one short break. When we return, we'll talk more on the social and on the social and cultural side of Southeast Asia.
ASEAN Dailies. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hey, this is Arlene. You're back with me.
Welcome back to Trian ASEAN. This is Grace.
Grace, remember last time we reported about the Sumatran rhino in Malaysia? It has somehow extinct, but from a report that I heard from a friend who is also doing conservation, saying that they are still Sumatran rhino, but it is really extremely endangered.
And well, in fact, the population of rhino is decreasing dramatically, and then those rhinos, their bones, their horns, even their skins are used for all those aesthetic purposes and the medical purposes, which are actually illegal. And then apparently there is a zoo that has sent the rhino in the United States announced the plans to send him to Southeast Asia, and they are on the mission to mate and also help preserve this endangered species.
Amazing. Well, how do you know it's a him?
Oh, they said it's a him. Yeah, so I believe it's a male species there.
Yeah, apparently 8-year-old Harapan, which is the name of the Sumatran rhino, could be on his way within several weeks to Indonesia, where nearly all of the estimated 100 remaining Sumatran rhino live. I think they need to have the approach like how the Chinese deal with its panda. They need to make them have sex more and then make more babies and create an environment where they are able to prosper and flourish.
Well, that is true, but then the population of rhino is decreasing dramatically. So it is also very
90%.
important. Yes,
Yeah.
it is very important how the whole procedure of mating and also the when the babies are born, it is also very critical to take care of them after that, because the more endangered species are gonna be disappeared, the whole animal ecosystem will be broken anytime soon, and that will eventually affect the human beings after all. So for those who are into this supporting these endangered species, please do spread this news, and also to get more helps from your friends. Perhaps they may need a more donation when it comes to mating.
Oh yeah, but what is interesting is the Cincinnati Zoo has been a pioneer in breeding the species, which is great because they are also it's not just about giving harapan, and also his brother is joining Andalas to Indonesia, but also to somehow share the technology to make sure that there is a better process for breeding.
Yes, and it is also to save all those species after all. So it is very good news, and we hope to hear more news on this endangered species soon, and we'll deliver it to you.
And on the other hand, besides talking about animals, we should talk about party.
Because on Friday.
Because it's Friday. I was just listening to that song by what's that song? Friday.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Friday. Yeah, it was kind of her name is Rebecca Black. So whenever it's Friday, of course, it's the time for people to relax, and some people might drink alcohol.
Well, I will say
to unwind,
Yes. Well, it is very interesting, especially when it comes to Southeast Asia. Drinking alcohol, especially beer, is very famous. And when you go to Thailand, they have their own beer, and of course, different countries have different beer. And alcohol in ASEAN, of course, it varies widely, both by price and the consumption per capita as well. And also the attitude towards the alcohol, it also varies depending on the societies and also the groups that you are in, and depending on the religious belief as well.
That's true. And do you want to know who actually drink the most alcohol in Southeast Asia?
Let's hear what you need to say here.
So, thank goodness Malaysia apparently is not in the list, which is kind of weird. But the country that drink the most alcohol is Laos and Thailand.
Very interesting. I mean, Thailand is very famous for having its own beer, which is Singha beer. And the Laos, I'm quite surprised with this result, that it almost reached above the 6.0 liters of pure alcohol per year.
Yeah. But the country that I was surprised that has the least amount of alcohol consumption, which is Myanmar, Malaysia, and Indonesia. In fact, Malaysia has more alcohol consumption than Myanmar.
Yeah.
And Indonesia.
Perhaps in Myanmar, because of this import rate of the foreign or brands, or even coming to have its own companies in the Myanmar countries. But Indonesia, I'm more surprised that Indonesia has a huge populations there, and then the amount of the alcohol that is consumed by population is way lesser than Malaysia.
And I want to highlight another country that has also quite a huge number, but not that severe on alcohol consumption, is the Philippines.
Well, the Philippines, there are people there, the mindset are pretty liberal, and then they've got a few festivals there and events quite constantly and often. So people like to party, and there are also a lot of foreigners that are coming into the Philippines for tourism and then the business as well. So the foreigners do affect the whole society when it comes to alcohol.
And if you want to buy beer, you might not want to buy it in Kuala Lumpur or Singapore, because there's one of the most expensive price of beer in Southeast Asia.
Well, including Singapore as well, of course. So Malaysia, the price. A lot of people do complain sometimes because the alcohols, perhaps in Europe and even in East Asia, is way cheaper than Kuala Lumpur. Apparently.
That's true. And because of that, we are going to end our show today. Hopefully you have a really awesome Friday. For those who are going for the Bersih rally in Malaysia, you might want to prepare yourself, take some good rest. You might have the whole 2 days to yourself, do it just in the middle of Kuala Lumpur.
Yes, so be prepared, and then but then we hope that nothing violent or bad things happen for the next 2 days. Do look for us. We have our social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And do visit us durianasean.com for more content.